Yo,
Hey, how you doing?
doing good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Sweet.
Nice to see you. It's been a long week, man.
I
It's been a
know.
super long
We
week.
usually have time to like chat it up, like during the
Uh-huh.
week, and we just like
Yeah, been
I'm just been
busy, man. My
slammed.
kids my kids have been sick this week too, so it's put
Yeah.
uh extra food on my plate, so to say.
All right.
But interesting week, man. I see that you've been doing a lot of Lost Ark this week.
Yeah. A lot of Lost Ark this
And
week.
and what are you thinking, man?
Well, we can get to that at the end, but let's focus on task at hand here. So I'm Lord Fluffy, joined
The P
with
child?
the P Child. I see you have a background there.
Yeah. What does this
What is
say?
that? Oh, so we had a task of making our review of what we thought about Diablo Immortal this last week, and he didn't make one, so I just went ahead and threw it up for him. 10 out of 10, he
Oh,
says,
10 out of
with the
10.
quote, "You're goddamn right I have a phone."
Yeah, you're right, man. I didn't get a chance to play it. I only had one little window to do it, and
Sure, sure.
I chose to hang out with my family
No, I'm
instead.
just
So,
giving you shit.
there's so many people have already reviewed it. I'm like, I'm already late
Sure.
anyway, so I'll get one out
Yeah.
eventually, but too little, too late at this point already. Um, but yeah, interesting. So we did take some poll results from last week. You wanna you wanna
Uh,
share
yeah,
those
this one was
with
actually
everybody?
from a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah,
which we never talked about. We were supposed to talk about last week.
we forgot.
We did totally forget. So last week, or 2 weeks ago, we talked about if they were going to do a Diablo 2 remaster.
Hmm.
Should they strictly port it, just update the graphics, or should they overhaul it with improvements? And it's pretty split down the middle, 58-42.
Yep.
Strict port being the winner, with overhaul being second. How would you vote on this?
I would want the improvements personally. I think you can't really change story elements, in my
No,
opinion, on a
I
remake
don't
of
think
a
they would
game.
need to.
No, story elements have to be identical, exact. But gameplay mechanics and improvements are okay. It's a very slippery slope, though.
Right.
Very, very slippery slope. You
Yeah.
know, what's the line between making it better and then taking too much liberty? So I don't know. I would vote for improvements, though, personally.
Yeah.
So how
I
about
kind of
you?
agree. Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat. I don't know that, if I want to just do like Mephisto runs, like if I want to like go to
Yeah.
this level 3 and then go down there and like that's my end game. Like that doesn't sound fun to me. So I would want them to have some kind of, I'm not saying the exact greater rift system from Diablo, but some kind of totally randomly selected, maps and stuff like that. So that's what I
Yep.
would really hope for.
But we
A
wanted
better
to
end
make
game.
sure to get those results
Yeah.
out in case you guys were curious of the
Right.
results of that
Right.
poll, even though we kind of know it's not happening now.
Right.
So,
2 weeks ago, we were hopeful for.
but Blizz, if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
working on a Diablo 2 remaster, there's some info for you. Check
Sure,
it
sure,
out.
sure. Uh,
Um,
Today also marks a very momentous occasion.
hmm?
Um, Diablo Immortal's cinematic trailer has 24.3 upvotes, thousand. My BlizzCon review thoughts video has 24,681. So I beat the Diablo Immortal cinematic trailer on likes. We did it, boys.
That is insane. Um, that whole
848,000 dislikes.
that whole thing about YouTube or Blizzard, Blizzard couldn't do it. They'd have to have somebody in YouTube helping them out. Remove the downvotes is crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like I was really interested in that, and I kind of want your opinion on how you feel about it, because I think if somebody at Blizzard has the power to get a hold of somebody at YouTube, or they're working together or whatever it is, and manipulate the numbers game, I think it's, oh man, it feels dirty to me. Even though people are emotionally downvoting the video, and I get it,
Yeah.
it's still legitimate downvotes. That's the way people feel, and I feel like they're manipulating
It could be like way more sophisticated than we
things.
imagine, though. Just coming from my strict
Yeah.
software engineering perspective, like they could have algorithms in place that can tell like whether or not someone's like from the same IP is like just making new
Yeah,
accounts.
or they're botting it and
Yeah,
stuff.
or they're
Yeah,
botting
I
it.
get it. That's a shitload of bot accounts, though. We're talking like hundreds of thousands of downvotes.
We're talking about a very passionate group of people as well, though. So Who
Yeah.
knows?
It'd be interesting, man. I wish there was some transparency on what was going on there because I personally followed that more than almost anything because that to me, like that's even bigger than the scope of just Blizzard and Diablo Immortal. That's YouTube like feeding us what we want to think we should see or what the corporations want us to see,
Right.
not what people are actually seeing. And I think that that's pretty big. I've never heard of that happening before. So it's kind of
It
crazy.
is kind of crazy. It is definitely that. But let's just jump into. So last week we didn't talk about our thoughts on Diablo Immortal. We
Okay.
kind of wanted to just like get it out there in video form and then kind of discuss like what our disagreements were and that stuff. So just walk me through what did you think?
So I'm gonna step back a little bit to the announcement.
Sure.
And the announcement, man, I've watched this video since our last podcast a couple times. I have the video footage of me recording myself. I'm on my phone. I'm holding it out. I'm recording my face.
Sure.
And you have some footage of that too. And Wyatt comes out on stage and he starts talking about Diablo. And we're so excited, man. We're like, woo! And like, we're all happy. And the second they said mobile phone, the energy sucked out of that room. Like my face, I laughed actually because I was like, I knew instantly. I started laughing because I'm like, it was kind of like a culmination of weeks of me saying they better not give us a mobile game. And then they gave us a mobile game. So I laughed, but it wasn't a for real funny laugh. It was like, oh my God, laugh. Dusky knew instantly. He kind of tapped me on the shoulder like, what the F?
You're like, fuck
your face looked like you just found out your grandma died.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so going back, so that's kind of the setup, man. So I was already disappointed in the announcement before I played the game. And then we went to the line and we stood in line and then we got our hands on the game. And it was very hard to objectively play the game because I was disappointed in it.
Yeah.
But I did play the game. I think it felt like a more polished version of Diablo 3 at initial feel. I think it felt very good for a mobile game, but it's a mobile game. So it's not a PC game. It felt like a mobile game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, how'd you feel about the skills themselves and stuff like that?
I wanted them in D3 instantly.
Right.
Like I thought some of them were really cool. The example, like the monk can jump off of walls and kick stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of the abilities looked cooler than the ones we actually got to play. Like the wizard that could put the ice block down and then Ray of Frost it and spread that beam out. Yeah. That looks really cool to me.
Right.
So yeah, man, it looked good. I think some of their design choices, like they went away from they put cooldowns on all the abilities instead of having a power bar like Rage or Arcane Power or Spirit or whatever. They put cooldowns and I think it makes sense for that style of game to have cooldowns and not a power gauge.
Right, resource management.
But it kind of felt like you're just mashing your buttons on cooldown. I mean, there are some timings where you're going to save your big damage for groups of enemies, but for the most part, very cooldown based. And I really hope that they keep those cooldowns short because my personal opinion in most games, I don't like long cooldowns. I don't like 3-minute cooldowns or 5-minute cooldown abilities. I think you end up trying to save it for that perfect moment and then end up never using it because you never find that perfect moment.
Sure.
So I don't like them.
I definitely felt like the wizard, you were waiting on cooldowns a lot.
And the wizard's attack seemed weak too to me.
The auto attack, it changed, but it did feel weak. So yeah, the wizard felt slow, probably only because the wizard was the only class of the three that his like movement ability, his teleport didn't do damage, whereas the other classes theirs did. So you were using those movement abilities to do damage, and so you weren't as thirsted for cooldowns. But the wizard was like, wow, the wizard was super boring to me, and by far the weakest I felt in the demo. But
yeah, Barb was the most fun to me, but I think that play style lends itself more to a mobile environment too.
Sure.
A tankier melee class where you can get up close and personal, I think is on a small screen like that. I think it makes a lot more sense to have tankier melee classes. So But yeah, so my overall impressions, man, it was a fun mobile game. And then I found myself later on after we got back from BlizzCon and I calmed down a little bit.
Sure.
Kind of wishing I had a copy in my hands to play a little bit more of.
Right.
So I can't say it was garbage. I'm not going to sit here and say the game was complete trash because it wasn't. It was fun to play for a little bit, you know?
Right.
It's just not a PC replacement. And this goes back to what we said last week. Had they announced this alongside of anything else, I think it would have been received a million times better.
Right.
And I might actually be a little excited about it because this is just a supplemental thing to pass time while we wait for the big juice.
And I said, on my review, I said, quote, I kind of liked it. And then I ended up giving it, 5 out of 10. This is obviously not the worst game I've ever played. There's games in my life that have been infinitely worse than this game. Even in the last year, like Bless was just terribly dog shit. So it's like, 5 out of 10. It's still kind of a failing rating, and people are taking it as like, oh my God, Blizzard must have paid you. And like, if you say anything about
paid positive, you for a 5 out of 10?
Yeah, for a 5 out of 10. If you say anything positive,
5 out of 10 in my book is pretty shitty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you say anything positive about this game right now on the internet, like, you're a shill. You're a fucking shill. So
I'm with you a little bit on that. And I've never bashed the game to that extent. Like I my thing is I've told people like it's okay you're upset and I understand that. I'm upset too. But I'm not gonna completely just start talking all crap on Blizzard because they've produced games that I love and they've given me so much time of enjoyment and we don't have the game yet and we don't know what future projects they're making.
Right.
And I understand people are pissed and they have the right to be, I think.
Right.
But I'm a little bit more reserved in my judgment, I think, than a lot of people. So it's it is what it is, man. It's a mobile game.
Right.
Like I don't expect it to eat up much of my time. It could be totally awesome. Maybe, I doubt it, but maybe.
Sure.
So.
And like it's just like as we said before, it's like we were given like this much, of the game itself, like 3 zones.
Super small.
No
sample.
access to items or anything like that. We have no idea how that whole system's going to work. No idea about monetization. So we're strictly trying to judge it based on what we played, what we saw, which again is just this tiny, tiny little fraction of the game. And what we saw, it was okay. We both just felt like, it was okay.
It's okay. It was a decent mobile game.
Sure.
But I mean, how many mobile games do I think are worth my time? Very few.
None.
So like the difference is like even if this is a 10 out of 10 mobile game, it's still a mobile game. Like it's in that category of mobile game. And that's I think where what disappoints me is that I want new Diablo content so bad I'm willing to play a mobile game. Yeah. But if I had the option, never in a million years would I ever want a Diablo mobile game. It's just this is what we got. I'm gonna eat it. Right. You know what I mean? So
and I said that too. It's like, did I go back again and again? Well, I wanted to like truly test it for the people, but there was a part of me that was like I was so thirsty for Diablo content that I almost felt that kind of jaded my opinion. About
and I think I'm the same too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt the same to me. It's like I enjoyed my time playing it, but it's because it was Diablo content, and we want it so bad.
Right.
Like Diablo 3 has been the same for over a year. Yeah. It's like we're itching for anything we can get at this point. But the whole time I played it, I kept thinking, man, I really want this in Diablo 3. That's all I thought the whole time. I'm like, can I get these skills in Diablo 3? Even if they suck, they're still new and cool, and we'll try them out. I also remember going and playing Diablo 3 on Switch, and we differed on this opinion because when I was playing Diablo 3 on Switch, my thought process was if I was stuck in an airport, which was going to happen to me like the next day, would I rather be playing Diablo Immortal on my cell phone or would I rather be playing Diablo 3 on a Switch? And I kind of think I would rather have had Diablo 3 on a Switch.
Couldn't disagree more. Diablo 3 on Switch felt like really bad. It felt so bad.
I'm not saying it didn't feel as good as PC by far. It wasn't the same game, almost even. And there's some reason they decided to limit simultaneously casting abilities on the Switch, like simulcast. I don't understand if that's just a limitation of the hardware or a bug or I don't know, but that made no sense to me at all.
And you,
Um,
yeah. So I played a necro, and you had to like be near the corpses to cast corpse lance, and it's like what? So like I couldn't just
yeah.
like spam corpse lance when there's a corpse on the ground. Like it was
So
weird,
I don't
man.
know if those are bugs or flaws, and I know there's some bugs with Necro right now. I don't remember the details on
Sure.
it, but and I think the biggest reason I feel that way is the hardware controls. I really think that this Diablo Immortal game would be a lot better if it had hardware controls and iPads and
Sure.
iPhones. You can hook game controllers up to them,
I almost
and
felt
I
like Diablo Immortal should have been the Switch game.
yeah, right.
And
And that would have been that would have been cool though. That would
right.
have been better than
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
got. Like I would have bought it. I would have been pissed I didn't bring my Switch, and I would have bought it
Sure.
that day if it was out, you know?
Yeah.
But it needs the hardware controls.
Right.
It needs something. So I hope that at some point in the future Blizzard looks into implementing controller support for tablets and phones, because they have them. Other games have them.
Yeah.
And I think it would work well in this game. But yeah, I don't know, man. My review, if I were to give it a score based on games in general or PC games, like how should I judge this?
Games. Games in general.
Games in general?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's going to be brutal then, because it's, I think even the best of the best mobile game is going to be less than a 5 for me.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to say a 4 or 5.
Okay.
If I'm basing it off on mobile games, I'd probably give the demo a 8, because it felt good. And, I needed to see more of it. But based on just gaming in general, I would say a 4 or 5.
Right.
I mean, it's, as much as as much as I want new content and hate to say it, it's just like, it's not a PC game.
Right. And I will say too, and you were
Or even
standing
a
right
console.
there. You remember, so day 2, like I was like, okay, let's go play it again, right? Like start out the day, we go play it again, and like Lindsay got to play it for like the second time or third time, and she was into it, like she was like, and that's kind of like a testament I felt to maybe the audience that they're trying to reach, because like Lindsay was playing it, you could tell she was very, very into it, and she was having a good time.
Yeah, backstory. That's Lord Fluffy's girlfriend, who's not a gamer.
No.
By any means. No. I mean, she likes games and plays some games, but she's not like us. You know what I mean? Right. So the point is that audience. But that's, and like I said, my wife is a mobile phone gamer. She doesn't have any interest to play any console or PC games ever, but she plays games on her cell phone all the time, like hours a day, probably at least an hour a day. I don't know if she would get into this style of game. That's not really her thing. She's more into like, the Candy Crush style.
That's another thing too, is like, so would Lindsay have picked this up on the App Store if A, she wasn't dating me,
Yeah.
And B, had ever heard about Diablo? I don't think so.
See, that's kind of where my disconnect comes in too. Right. Is like, so King Games makes bukus of money. They make Candy Crush and a lot of other things. But those games are targeted at an audience where Twitch reflexes and those skill sets don't matter as much. It's more puzzle solving and just, I don't know, man. But Diablo Immortal is more like a Diablo game, more like Diablo 3. I don't know how those gamers would relate to it,
Right.
Maybe they'll get into the story if the story's good. Maybe if the game has difficulty settings where you can play at an easier setting to not get killed a lot. Like, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Anyways,
we have questions still that we need answered, but
yeah, for sure.
But all in all, man, my review is that it's Diablo content, so I'm intrigued because of that alone. Mm-hmm. I didn't get to see enough in the demo to really make a firm opinion. It looked good from what I got to play, but there are so many unanswered questions. So.
Right.
And I don't know about you, for me personally, the monetization scheme that they decide to go with is going to ultimately probably make or break how much I play the game.
I think any one decision that they could make from now until release could make or break the game. Like, they could talk about itemization and it totally sucks. They could talk about monetization and it totally sucks. They could talk about endgame, it totally fucking sucks. It's like there's an infinite amount of things they could announce from now to release that's just going to kill the game, period. And they have to go through multiple stages of that. So it's like, it's going to have a tough road. It's really going to have a tough road.
Yep.
Anyways, enough about that. Enough about the game. But I kind of wanted to like take everybody back in time, and Quinn kind of touched on this in his latest video, of an April Fool's joke from 2014
Please
from
insert your foot into your mouth.
Blizzard. They talk about a Diablo mobile app called Happy Reaper. And they say in Happy Reaper, players take on the role of Malthael, the angel of death, who's recently turned sanctuary with a vengeance. With a series of well-timed mouse clicks or finger taps, you'll skillfully guide Malthael through a network of ancient pandemonium ruins to collect human souls and obliterate puny Nephilim with your trusty death laser of doom. And so they show like kind of like meme photos of a mobile game. And then here we are, 2018.
Yeah. I'm surprised that's still up.
Yeah.
Is that actually still up on the website?
Yeah, I think so.
Liz, you might want to take that down. It's too late now.
Yeah.
So you can't take it down now. Yeah, man. It's interesting though. You know, it is. It's like they know even. It kind of just makes you wonder how much from the top down, you know, when they start seeing numbers, they start seeing all the money that's in the mobile market. I think that's where this decision came from. And I think it came from like, do we need some of that Fortnite money?
Yeah.
Let's get some mobile games.
And I think that, I don't know, once upon a time they had a very solid stance on like, you know, we're at Blizzard, we're about making games for gamers, and then at some point it shifted because, you know, money became a thing. And only to further prove that point is 1 year ago they had this StarCraft trailer, which I'm gonna play for you guys. Just watch this.
Dad, I'm getting wrecked. Can't I buy some stronger units?
Your grandfather didn't give his life just so his grandson could pay money to be good at something.
Dad, Grandpa's still alive.
Son, your legacy awaits.
Did you bedazzle Mom's engagement ring?
StarCraft 2, the legendary competitive game, is now free to play.
If that thing's wrecked,
Which is not a bad commercial in and of itself. But like what happened in Blizzard's history? Like what happened along the road? Was it just like Fortnite and the crazy money they're pumping out, or Candy Crush and its crazy money? So like
I don't know.
When was the change?
Candy Crush has been around for a while though. So
right.
You know, I don't know.
I don't get it.
It is crazy. There's definitely a sense of disconnect, and I think the fans are definitely upset about it. And you know, some of the questions that we got for tonight's podcast relate back to that too. You know, so you know, we'll see.
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't add up.
It doesn't.
But yeah, and then in further news. Let's look at some of the. Let's get in some numbers here.
This is interesting, isn't it? Oh my gosh!
Look at that.
So Activision.
This is bad, guys. If you don't
their
follow
stock, this is their stock is not doing well right now. Might be a good time to buy. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to keep going down or not. So the numbers that I read, and you know, I didn't do a ton of research to validate this, but it looks like it was the lowest point that it's hit in a year, and it's down 28%, over 28%. That's a lot of money, guys.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's a lot. If that's not like, man, this has got to be eye-opening, you know. And I think this isn't all because of Immortal. This is because of Bungie's Destiny 2 debacle too, where they didn't listen to the fan base. They got disconnected. They made a game that nobody wanted. They changed shit that nobody wanted, and it's underperforming as well. Like Forsaken didn't sell like they wanted it to, even though it's a great game. It's because they pissed all their fans off and they left. Right. And so now they produce some good content, but it's almost too little too late, you know? So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because a lot of people, well, at least a lot of the comments that I'm getting on YouTube are like, oh, wow, you caused Blizzard to lose X amount of money. I'm like, it's not. I just asked a question. It has nothing to do with that. Right. I just asked a question.
Right.
And then the boom.
This is going to happen regardless.
Right. But I thought it was also funny. So I didn't know this, but Blizzard does like this, or Activision does this like investor, like public meeting. Like you can just kind of join in and listen if you want.
Yeah, I think they have to do them. Yeah. Is it quarterly or
yeah,
semi-annually? I've listened to these before. Yeah, because a lot of times they'll talk about upcoming stuff that's going to happen because they have to inform the shareholders what's going on. So it's usually a pretty good source of info.
Right. And so Asmund was listening to it. It was a WoW streamer, if you guys don't know, and kind of listened to a kind of a weird moment in the whole conference.
Last week, Blizzard announced Diablo Immortal, which will bring this tentpole franchise to a mobile audience in both the East and West. While fan reaction was muted to the announcement, players' hands-on experiences at BlizzCon confirmed what we believe, which is that Diablo Mobile will be a very well-received game when it releases, and players around the world will love it.
Diablo Immortal will be very well received, and players around the world will love it.
Yeah.
At your investor meeting. Woo.
If those investors live under a rock, they might believe that. Woo. Maybe. I don't know, man. That's scary to me. I mean, and it might. I don't know.
It could be
maybe,
very well. It could make a lot of money.
Maybe we're all just squeaky wheels, and there's millions of people that want this, and know, we just don't know what we're talking about.
Right.
I doubt that, but
right.
It's
there's a lot of speculation that this is kind of like more of a shot towards like kind of the Asian market, where in China in particular, where pay to win type stuff is very much a part of culture and very widely accepted amongst a big margin of their gamer crowd. So it could.
Do you think
really
that this is going to end up being a paradigm shift where we're getting this crammed down our throats now, and we're just going to have to be accepting of it at another point in time? Because it seems like, and here's examples that I have. Like Apple does this crap all the time, right? iPhone launches, they have their browser, and Apple's like, you know what? We're not going to support Flash. Fuck Flash, fuck Adobe. We're not going to use it. And then everybody outcries like, oh, boycott Apple. They don't support Flash. 2 years later, nobody cares about Flash. Everybody adopted, and Flash is dead.
Right.
Okay. Fast forward a couple years later, and I'm just using Apple as an example. There's so many companies.
Sure. Yeah.
Apple's like, hey, we're going to take the headphone port off of our phones. And I'm like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. I got all these fancy headphones I want to use. A couple years later, people don't remember, don't care. You're okay with buying gadgets to charge your phone and listen through headphones at the same time. And it's like, they start off these things like they give you this little iPhone adapter for free the first time. Now the new phones don't come with this. Like They softened the blow the first couple times, and it was the same. It was the same with like the iPad. The first iPad came with headphones and like all the other stuff, and then they slowly start taking things away until it becomes the standard. And it makes you wonder if this is the thing, man. Like they're like, listen, pay to win makes us more money. It's more lucrative. Western markets don't adopt it. We're just going to start cramming this shit down their throats.
Sure.
And then eventually they'll just accept it, or they won't have games to play. It makes you wonder.
It's just going to be such a weird climate as a Diablo player to like, so say Diablo Immortal comes out later this year and like, we don't like it at all.
Right.
But it does very well in another part of the world. So well that, they keep pumping out content for it, and, it's constantly getting updates, and, here we are maybe still playing Diablo 3 and not getting anything, and then like another part of the world that like there's this Diablo game that's doing really well and getting tons and tons of content. It's like that would be such a weird position to be in. I feel like it's just gonna be such a weird thing to go through. I feel like
and I think the free to play, pay to win, even if it's not pay to win, pay to skin is definitely going to be the thing. So many games have microtransactions in them now, even full title games. And an example is like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I love that game. It is so good. It just came out a couple of weeks, a month ago, 2 months ago. It's amazing. It's a full-fledged $60 title, and they sell a $120 version of the game that comes with extra bells and whistles. They still have microtransactions on top of the $120 version of the game.
It's crazy.
There are things in that game that I want that cost $20. Like there are some actual the items necessarily aren't pay to win. They definitely have power to them. You can beat the game without them, but they look really cool. But it's $20, and I'm like, dude, those are sick. I really want it, but I already spent X amount of dollars on the game. Like, that sucks to have to buy this yet again. And then part of me is also like, this game is so badass, I want to support it. So I'm definitely conflicted. What are your thoughts on games doing that, man? Like, if they a $60 full-fledged $60 title or more, still having microtransactions for cosmetics and things like that.
I don't care. I'm all for it. Like, if a game wants to put in cosmetic microtransactions, go for it. Like, I couldn't care less. I think it's a great way to continue the revenue stream. Go for it. You know, Diablo 3 is one of those games that's pay to play, and this whole time they should have had a cash shop for cosmetic items, and maybe if they had done it right in the first place, we'd still be getting updates for Diablo 3. So I'm all for it. Now, if we're talking about, you know, pay to win stuff, then I start to get pissed off, and I think it's really stupid. And so, I mean, it's a fine line, but I don't care. Like, if it's cosmetics, if it's just cosmetics and you got to pay for them, I don't care. Pay for them. Because at least you know, like, you pay for a cosmetic, like, that money's going towards the company, and you're supporting the company. Like, it's just like GGG. I think GGG is a perfect example of this in PoE. Like, you buy like their supporter packs. It's just a bunch of cosmetic shit, and it's like they're labeling it as supporter pack because that's what their company's living on, and you're buying that. So you're buying into not only getting stuff that makes your character look cool, but you're buying into, like, I support you in your game.
What do you think about the pricing? Like, so GGG has a set of wings in PoE that are like $40.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That seems pretty crazy to me, though. Like, that's almost the price of an entire game for one cosmetic.
Right.
And so, like, I get it that you want. I don't know. Do they price it that high because they want it to be rare and they don't want everybody to have it?
I think they priced it that high because, like, so the game's free to play, and so you rationalize with yourself, like, well, I really want these wings, so I want my character to look really cool. It's like, well, but I'm playing the game for free, so, and the game would cost me $60.
But don't you think they'd make more money if they had the items weren't as expensive? Wouldn't you be more willing to drop $2 or $3 than drop $40? Like, what if you got 100 people to drop $2 or $3 versus like 10 people to drop 40?
I don't know. I'm sure they have, like, you know,
I want to see those
this,
metrics,
right?
Like, man, that's crazy to me, though. So, but I saw some of the $40 wings, and I'm like, those are dope. Like, if I played PoE, I would have bought them. I'd be like, all right, here, take my $40. And it's the same for Diablo. Like, if a game I don't even play, PoE, has cosmetics that I would be like, if I played that, 100% I would spend money on those cosmetics. I would do that in Diablo without even thinking about it. I'd be like, $40 for some wings?
Yeah.
All right, take my money.
$20 to make, you know, fucking Blight Spear cast as like a red animation instead of a green. Like, people would eat that shit up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't even change. You could change your Crusader mount.
Yeah.
You know, when you mount up, like, get some just ridiculously badass,
shit,
you know, steed. People would pay all kinds for that.
Such a missed opportunity in Diablo 3.
Oh man, it's so crazy to me. So let's talk about, we're talking about pricing and modeling, and let's talk about this Diablo Immortal pricing leak photo.
Yeah.
Because I got some comments on this guy.
Yeah.
I got some things to say about this.
So this is speculation is that this is a meeting of the minds with NetEase and Blizzard, and you can see, you know, Wyatt Chang here on the left, and they're talking about, you know, microtransactions.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Can you blow that
stuff.
picture up at all? Can you make that? Can you zoom in on that board on the TV if it lets you?
Yeah.
Nice. So the thing is that this is supposed to be a pricing model. And I'm with you that they're having a meeting with NetEase.
You can see a veiled crystal right there.
I don't see whatever language this is in. I don't read it.
I think that they're suggesting, so this is going to be like you know, you use mats and you can get like a plus system. I think people are speculating that, like, it's a, you know, plus 1, 2, 3 system you see over and over.
Yeah.
In these Asian games, and that, you know, it has a chance of failure, and then you can buy like some kind of microtransaction that lets you upgrade with better chance, or, you know, 100% success chance for the cost of actual money.
I don't think like if when I look at this, and like I said, I don't speak the language.
Sure.
I don't know what that actually says. That doesn't scream monetization to me. I see no dollar signs. I see no
Right.
like I don't. All I see there is it looks like items getting
Right.
turned into something else.
I agree.
So it's interesting that this is what this is. It would be really cool if we could get a legitimate translation of what's on the screen by somebody. So if anybody that listens to our podcast sees this picture and can 100% clarify the translation, that would be amazing. But yeah, I don't, I don't think from any talks that I've had, their monetization scheme isn't locked down. I think that this is probably going to be one of the biggest decisions they have to make in the game is how they're going to monetize this thing. Because I think a wrong step here destroys their Eastern market and a wrong step there destroys their Western market. And I think regardless of what what they do, man, it's going to be splitting hairs trying to get this locked down. So,
and does this guy roll out of bed or like what?
Yeah,
sweatpants.
I saw that. He's wearing like sweats and a tee.
Giving a
that looks like
presentation?
it's like, yeah, I don't know.
What
It
the
looks.
heck?
I mean, it looks like he's got a little extra junk in the trunk too. I don't understand
yeah.
what's going on there. But and then some of the other guys are in polos, so I don't know.
Yeah.
he must be the big dog that can just do whatever. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, he's like
Living the
rolls
dream.
in. You guys ready? Come on.
Yeah.
And then it also goes back to like the Eastern market. There was a thread on the battle.net forums a while back where they
Interesting.
talked about this. Is interesting because it was removed on top of that. The thread is gone now, but I actually was able to click it and read it before it was removed. It's been gone for a little bit, and we wanted to talk about this last week, but we went over our
long
podcast
time.
by almost an hour. So the thread said that Witch Doctor was removed because it doesn't sit well in Asia, and Tyrael wasn't black anymore.
Yeah, he's
and
white.
so the speculation was that the darker pigment skinned characters were removed because of race issues, I guess is what it was suggesting.
Yeah, so there's market research, and there's other things to support this, so we'll just pull it up real quick. So they had the Star Wars poster in China.
Yeah.
They removed the black guy entirely. Like, just photoshopped him out. Because there's market research there that shows that, people just don't respond well to African Americans, which is just fucking crazy to me. And then there's this
that's
meme
insane.
commercial out there where, like, there's this guy, and he's a black man, and they put him in the washer, and he comes out, like, as an Asian.
I've seen that.
And it's just like, holy fucking shit.
Right. Yeah, it's insane to me. They could never admit to that if that was the case. And I didn't even realize if that's actually still a thing in Asia. I didn't even know that was going on.
Sure.
So,
but
that's
kind of
crazy
like, it goes back
and
because,
very
like,
sad.
everyone's like, why is the Witch Doctor not in Diablo Immortal? And, like, so we've talked about, like, if we're going to get rid of one class in Diablo, what would it be? And it's the Witch Doctor.
It's a Witch Doctor for sure. I mean, Witch Doctor sucks. They left it out. It makes sense. Like,
and that's immediately where I went. And then you look at this and you're like, well, fuck. Is it because of this, or is it because
it's a race thing? Yeah, and so Tyrael not being black either would be kind of very supportive to this theory, I guess. Because why would you change his race? That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's very sad. Like, the only thing I can say to this is that if that's actually true, it's just really sad.
Yeah.
I don't really know what else to say. It bothers me on a personal level, and I think it's sad, but I would,
it's
I would
fucked
have
up,
issues with
because it's
that.
like, so if you're a company, like, where do you draw the line? So you're like, okay, we've got this black character, two very big black characters in our game, Tyrael, Witch Doctor, right? Like, how evil is it as a company to be like, well, we know that it won't do as well in country X if we keep him as a black person in it, so, like, let's just change it, like, let's make him white.
Yeah.
Like, how's that meeting even go down? And two, like, how fucking big of a piece of shit are you for, like, being okay with the stereotype and being like, well, we're just doing this for money, so Like it's just so fucked up. And it's kind of like the black guy in that commercial where he goes into the washing machine and comes out as like a white Asian dude. Like you're also kind of fucked up. Like
because you filmed it, right?
You're just you volunteered for that role. And, yeah.
Right.
So it's like, holy shit, you know? It's just kind of mind blowing.
It is crazy. It is super, super crazy. I didn't even know the Star Wars poster thing was a deal either. This is the first I heard of that, so I had never even heard of that either. So that's again kind of nuts, man. Like I didn't realize that kind of shit was still going down.
Yeah.
So thought we were past that, man. It's 2018.
Right.
Come on, guys.
Fucking crazy.
You know. But we'll move on because that's not even like it's hard to even talk about that.
It's not even like a gaming issue. That's like a
it's hard to even talk about without getting personal because the first person that's like says something retarded about it, you want to just blow up on them, and so Alan Adham.
Adham.
I can't talk. Adham. Yeah, this one. I can't read either.
This guy.
He talked about. He talked. Do you want to just pull the link up and then are you gonna play that one too?
We're gonna play it. So he has this like behind the scenes.
This is like a media.
Yeah, this is the media thing,
conference.
and so like some of the big names are here, asking questions, and there's three.
Where's my ticket
parts,
to this, Blizzard?
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
We didn't get a
You're
media
watching.
pass.
Where's my ticket?
It's probably for a good reason, but three particular parts of this interview stuck out, and it's so upsetting as a Diablo player to hear it. So we'll just play them. And the audio quality on these guys is really, really bad. So just bear with us.
Yeah, I'll handle that question. 'Cause we've talked a lot about this. If you saw the blog post from a couple weeks ago, that was our effort. Those of you who didn't see it, we basically said, I'll paraphrase here, but we said, we think we know what you're hoping to see. We want to remind you that we have multiple Diablo teams working on multiple projects. Good things come to those who wait, but evil things sometimes take longer. And so you can read into that what you want, but that was our effort to let our community know, come with reasonable expectations.
So I want to get your opinion on this just right out of the box.
Yeah, in case the audio, like it's hard for me to hear, just in case, like what was his little synopsis?
Yeah,
what did he say?
The synopsis is like, we made this blog post that was like that whole de-hype thing, where it's like, good things come this way, evil things take longer, and he's like straight up saying that was our way of letting our community know to come with reasonable expectations.
Right, which is stupid. Like you blew him up. I'm not even. Yeah, that's the dumbest thing. You set our expectations to the moon, and then you bring them back down.
Right.
It's so dumb.
But it's like, why Diablo of all games do they get away with shit like this? Like you can't say, evil things come to those who like. What does that even mean? Like, why don't you just use your fucking words? Like, why don't you just say, this is what
I don't.
Like this is
so this
ridiculous.
Goes back to the transparency thing,
right.
And it's like, why the F and why don't they tell us what they're working on, man?
Imagine
what is the big secret?
Right.
Like, what are you? Because GGG finds out you're making Diablo 4. Do you think they don't already know that? Like, whatever you got going on, I promise you, they have moles.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's like, so imagine you're playing imagine Call of Duty made an announcement like this, where they're like, people are like, hey, snipers are too powerful. Please nerf. And people are crying about it for say a really long time, like 6 months. And then Activision comes out in response to this, and they're like, oh, good things come to those who wait. The Call of Duty community would fucking it would blow up the internet. Like you can't say that. And then Diablo community, they just get away with it, time after time after time.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating because he's very clearly in the video. He's like, well, we let people know, if they couldn't pick up on it, it's on them. It's not on us. We're totally innocent because we made it totally clear. So it's like, how detached can you possibly be? But it gets worse. It gets a lot worse. So he goes on. So this guy asks, I'm not sure who he is, so I'm sorry, whoever you are. But he asks, is this game to kind of pick up an audience that maybe Diablo hasn't had in the past? And Alan Adham speaks up again. Here we go.
might not know what Diablo is?
No. Our absolute hope and our first, when we draw out what we think our target audience is, the first and foremost are diehard Diablo fans from the PC space. We think that if you love Diablo on desktop, you're going to love being able to play it anywhere in your hand and experience the same characters and the same moment-to-moment gameplay that you already love. You'll just be able to experience it on a new platform.
So he says, basically, in a nutshell, like they know that their core audience is PC players.
Mm-hmm.
But they think like that those players will love being able to play on a new platform, like with 100% confidence. Just
yeah, I don't even know. I mean, dude, that's so out of touch, man. You obviously have never seen a PC master race meme in your life,
right?
You know, like PC players typically hate every other platform, period, including Xbox and PlayStation. But yeah, I don't. It's just out of touch, man. It's just like there's a bubble that he's living in that I, wish that I need to get an invite to it because there's some good shit in there.
Right.
That bubble's full of good stuff, man.
And then just to wrap it all up, a little quick, one more thing.
These are desktops, but the core of what we're trying to hit here first is our core Diablo audience.
The core of what we're trying to hit here first with Diablo Immortal is our core Diablo audience, which he just said was the PC players.
Right.
So this product, in Alan Adams' eyes, was designed for the PC player base.
On mobile.
And it doesn't bother me if he just comes out, and he does come out and say in this Q&A, he's like, yeah, we're trying to reach a broader spectrum of players. Like, just fucking say that.
Yeah.
Why are you disguising it as like, oh, yeah, we had our PC players in mind
you
for
can't,
this?
People can see through your bullshit. Like, that's the problem. And, like, people still haven't figured out, corporations still haven't figured out, the internet will see through your bullshit, and they will remember everything. Like, they're Pepperidge Farm, dude.
Right.
If you post some shit back in 97, that's gonna surface instantly as soon as 20, 30 years later. So just like Quinn brought up the topic in his video of them making fun of cell phones in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, you can't get one past this, man.
Right. And it just, like, this guy in particular, and the way he answers the questions, if you watch the whole thing, I would encourage it, and I'll link it in the video description, but he doesn't answer a single question without first starting with the condescending statement, or second, following it up with the condescending statement. He says multiple times in this interview, like, oh, I see a lot of you guys haven't had the chance to play it yet. Like, just fucking constant shade at his own community. And on top of that, like, he always refers, and I'm surprised no one's like, dude, you got to stop doing that. But he always refers to the game as a product. You guys are really going to like this product. You guys are really,
right.
Once you get a chance to sit down and play this product, I think you're really going to like it. And it's just like that alone is like, you're not even calling it your game anymore. It's like, it's a product. It's like,
it's money.
Know that you're not talking to investors. Know that you're talking to your community.
Your gamers. Yeah.
Gamers. Stop calling it a product.
Very disconnected, man. This is an eye-opening experience, I think, for the gamers and for the company. I don't think that so like a lot of people are looking at this as like Blizzard screwed us, they don't care about us. I think this is a two-sided, conversation. Like Blizzard, I think, realizes how they screwed up, and I think the gamers now realize what their focus is, And to me, it kind of seems like I don't feel like their focus is on what the community wants anymore. I think it's more what's going to make us the most dollars. What makes our wallet the fattest. You're still going to get a fat wallet with other products, but what's going to make it the fattest, And I think it goes back to that Fortnite money, man.
Yeah.
People want that Fortnite money. So
damn you, Fortnite.
I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. Those are interesting, though. The disconnect is so obvious when you watch that video. And to me, like, even the faces so in that little clip that you even played right there, did you see where he said, he said something to the effect like we're Diablo fans or something like that,
Right.
and then Wyatt laughed right next to him. Did you catch that?
I don't think he left. I think he was like
He chuckled. He's like, it was like so to me he looked so uneasy with the whole scenario that it kind of was like a laugh that was like, oh my God, can this please be over? It was, it looked so uneasy, man.
Yeah.
Because you see press conferences and you see things, and when the product's exciting and everybody's excited to debut and talk about their new stuff, the energy in the room is different, and the people are smiling and laughing and they're bantering with the news reporters, and it's just everything's good. And this was like, hey, you just lost the World Series. Tell us why you sucked it up, and how come you went 0 for 50 at the plate. And it's just like they looked miserable up there, man.
Right.
They did not look happy or fun.
No, not at all.
So none of it. All right. So back to other things. Like, we talk about a variety of stuff, and man, if PoE isn't just raking in the cash right now, they're firing shots. They're firing all shots. I don't even know if this was planned and this just fell in their lap, or if these guys are that good and they did this thing. But PoE has a new Betrayal official trailer. Like, they just launched content, and they're going to launch more content. They're like, you want content? Come over here.
Right.
GGG got you.
Right.
It's insane, man. And to be honest with you, I'm not a huge PoE fan. I've never really wanted to play. I am intrigued in the game. I'm every day a little bit more. I'm like, these guys are pumping out crazy content.
Yeah.
So
as a Diablo player, you can't help but be jealous to the amount of content the Path of Exile gets.
I couldn't imagine having content like this. How awesome that would be for our game, for our communities. So it's insane.
Right.
But in this content drop, do you happen to have that Syndicate trailer? Do you have it up?
I mean, it's right here. Yeah.
You can let it play muted in the background if you want, I guess. But in this thing, they talk, and they specifically made a group of people that you're hunting down, and they call them the Immortal Syndicate. Like, if that was coincidence, holy shit.
Come on, dude.
I don't think it was. And then on top of that, they said there's a line in the trailer where they say they think they are immortal, they are not. And like, if that's not directed directly at Blizzard, saying like, dude, we got you, man.
Plus the name of the expansion itself, Betrayal.
Is Betrayal. I mean, dude, these guys. I wonder if BlizzCon happened and they saw that mobile announcement and they said, holy shit, you guys, do you want the fattest Christmas bonus you've ever had in your life? We're slaving until when was the drop date? When is the drop date on that? Does it say?
7th, I think.
It's like, dude, if you work 100 hours a week until December 7th, we pump this content out. Whatever, we're good, we're golden.
Right.
Buy a new house. I don't know what we're gonna do.
Right.
But it's insane, man.
So some of the features,
GGG.
Some of the features seem to be. So have you ever played Shadow of Mordor?
I did a little bit, yeah, and I do know what you're talking about. So and there's a system similar to that in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Okay. Yep. So basically, you're trying to find the head honcho, I guess, in this game. See if I can pull up like a shot of them playing with the cards or whatever.
Yeah, while you're searching for that, I'll relate to. So Shadows of Mordor and Odyssey both had a system. Odyssey stole it, where there's like a head cultist leader or a head guy you're trying to find. And then it's basically the mafia. Like, think about the Godfathers at the top, and then you have your lieutenants, and you know how they work through the pecking order. So I guess in most games it'll work where you find a lieutenant, get clues, and go through the up chain to finally get the top boss, the big dog. And it looks similar. Like, this is going to play out like that. So
right, yeah, it seems like. I mean, and I don't care. Like, when games like take systems from other games, I really don't care. Like, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you stole that." But it's like, if it's a fun system and you can bring it into your game in a fun way, like, go for it, man. And that's kind of one of the things Lost Ark is doing a lot of. Is they're just taking like some of the best systems out of every game that we know and putting it in their game, right? So I think this could be a great thing. I don't personally think. When I first saw it, I was like, ooh, like, it's not really something I'm into at all. But
Yeah.
Get more content for PoE players. Like, goddamn, I hate you guys.
Can't be a bad thing.
Right. So, yeah. And then it looks like they've kind of revamped the crafting, which I felt like was a long time coming, which is a good news for them. They guess they've reworked the, like, you have like little guys that you hire and they keep in your hideout. It seems like they've maybe rehashed a bit of that too. And I don't know. It seems a lot of things I've seen in here seem pretty good. I just really wish they would go back and kind of rework some of the core features of the game, but that's we could say that for another date.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too a little bit. It's interesting though. They're definitely seizing the opportunity that Blizzard presented them. Blizzard handed them the ARPG market on a platter,
right.
and PoE is running with it. They're trying to suck up as much as they can. So that's, it's interesting. And then speaking of the ARPG market, Lost Ark.
Yeah, and I think so. Before we touch on Lost Ark, I think this is a testament of the feel of the market right now, right? So it's like if you're really like ARPGs, because the market was never flooded, you're either playing PoE, or you're playing Diablo 3. And if you really really like PoE, which a lot of players do, that's fucking awesome. But usually, one of the big killing factors for a lot of players is playing economy, and if you don't like economy, you're probably not gonna have the most fun experience playing PoE. And so it's like you make a choice, like Diablo 3 or PoE, and it's not necessarily that you don't like, or you hate one, you hate the other, and you only like that one. It's just like that's all you had to choose from, right? There's some games out there like Grim Dawn. It doesn't really have the replayability that both of these games have, or any kind of end game competition. And we have games on the horizon like fucking Wilson and Last Epoch or whatever, but it's just like this is the fact that people are going out of their way. Like I had to download a torrent to get the game. I had to sign up for a VPN. I got to buy a Korean account from an actual Korean with like a Korean social security number. Like really go out of my way just to even try a new ARPG.
Right.
Like it's such a testament to how stale and like not saturated this market is at all. So just throwing that out there first. And of course, second, I've played Lost Ark like crazy this last week. I really like what I'm seeing so far. I finally hit the end game. We just started diving into it, so we'll know a lot more next week. But just based on what I've seen, like the combat alone in Lost Ark is the best combat I've ever seen in any ARPG. I would even say any MMO, and that's what it is. It's a mesh of MMO and ARPG, and MMO ARPG. I think it's amazing so far. A lot of big streamers have been playing it, Quinn, DatMods, and a lot of ARPG streamers, like that's what we want to play. So you see those guys all over it, and it's been good. And the Koreans are like, they're pretty fun in chat. They come in and they laugh at us trying to translate stuff, and it's a pain in the butt to set up, and it's a pain in the butt to try to understand what you're supposed to be doing most of the time. But like those moments where you're like just doing a dungeon, or you're just fighting stuff, that's when it feels just like, man, I can't wait for this game.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if they're going to release an English version of the game, because
I guess the
BlizzCon,
company itself is working on an English patch for the Korean client, though. It's not going to be,
I mean, I don't care. I don't mind VPNing in to play it, I guess, if I have to.
Sure.
The translation barrier is what kind of set me off a little bit. And I get they have some translation tools. I've seen that you using translation tools now that seem kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point it's interesting. If they release some kind of English version, I would be way more inclined. Like I'm already into it a little bit, but it looks good, man. The combat looks very, very fluid.
Combat's so good.
The story looks a little cheesy from what I've been told and what I've had people translate.
And you can't skip
really
cutscenes as part of the main story, so that's a chore. Cutscenes, but yeah, I mean the whole system. We've talked about some past streams when we talked about Last Ark, but the whole system is like you're basically trying to CC all the trash mobs. That's all you're trying to do, because if you don't CC them, you get overwhelmed. You don't take a ton of damage. You can't take that much damage. So you're just trying to CC mobs, and then like in dungeons, you have like mechanics on top of that, and then with boss fights, like you're trying to avoid everything the boss is throwing at you, they've got like some really cool mechanics for what the bosses can do. And on top of that, you have to try to CC, some trash mods that keep coming at you, waves of trash mods that keep coming at you. So you have to it's a balance between, you have to CC them and keep them CC'd so they don't overwhelm you, and also avoid the boss mechanics at the same time. And it just works. There's something about it that just works. It's very satisfying. So yeah, I'm very curious to see more.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can't wait. Hopefully that English patch will come out sooner than later.
Yeah.
I think that the market's so open right now. I mean, there is this huge market full of players that would love ARPG content, and nobody's really providing it. I mean, GGG's trying really hard, I feel like. But if you're not into Path of Exiles, you have nothing else right now.
Yeah.
So there's no AAA title that has the backing and development team to really kick it out. So
Right. And then there's been, to touch on what we kind of touched on last week, there's been talks of season 16. We're going to get something. I'm slightly concerned that if we're actually going to get a decent content update, that we haven't seen anything about a PTR. Every week that goes by is it's less and less likely. So
we were told we were going to get content. We were told it was going to be impactful and change the way you play the game. That was direct quotes from multiple sources.
But
not
that
just
also
one.
makes me think, they genuinely think that these seasonal themes are big and impactful. So when they say stuff like that, I'm on the fence because it's well, you don't really know.
But we said so no, no more double this or double that. And we're so triple. I mean, we joked with it, and they're no, it's not gonna. It's gonna be meaningful and
But
change
say
the way
they,
you play the game.
they do something that's just new. It's new. It's not double something. But how impactful is it really going to be? Because I don't feel like they really know. So it's that's why I'm on the fence about.
And then we had the post come out. I don't know if that came out after last podcast where Brandy Campbell put the post on the Battle.net forums.
Oh yeah, we hear you.
That was we hear you, and we're working on stuff. I expected a follow up to that by now already too, and we still haven't gotten it. And it's saying that and then going silent for a month or 2 months is complete opposite of what you said in the post. You said we hear you. We need the feedback. Respond to us. Let's have a dialogue at this point. Let's talk. And we're not talking. We're shouting at you, and then you're not responding.
Yeah.
So that's not a conversation.
Yeah.
So I hope we start getting
asked our
stuff this
opinion
week,
about
man.
that, right? You were should we stay silent, or should we make a post? And we're it couldn't hurt. But neither of us expected they're gonna make a post, and then never say anything. Make a post and then go silent.
The thing, I think there are some things that you have to ignore. You can't address the criticisms of Immortal head on. You won't win that battle, but you can start engaging and telling us what's going on. You can be more transparent with what you're doing behind closed doors. Tell us what you're working on. Tell us exactly what you're working on. It was so night and day when Destiny did that with Diablo, or Bungie did that with Destiny 2. They went from telling us nothing to on a weekly basis saying, hey, we worked on these bugs and we did this, and this is the future projects we're working on. We hope to have it done by this time, but if we don't, sorry. And we're okay with that. We're all right. They're trying to deliver us product, and and their schedules sometimes can be vague as hell. They might say fall of 2018 or winter 2018, and then fall comes up or winter comes up, and they're hey man, we know we were talking about this, but we can't do it. It's going to get pushed back now until spring of 19.
Sure.
And people are a little disappointed, but they're not pissed because they realize oh, we couldn't get that out because there was a bug with snipers, and then the bug ended up being 50 layers deep, and it was a huge issue to fix, but now we got it fixed. And explaining what they're doing and why they're doing it. Right. It goes so far because it's all right, cool. You couldn't make the new content because snipers were fucked and it was in the core code and it took you 3 weeks to fix it. I get that. That makes sense to me. I'm okay with that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We said this before. Blizzard is still living in an age where they think that failure isn't an option. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they tell us we're working on Diablo 4, and then later on that gets scrapped. I feel that they expect the backlash to be worse than keeping us in the dark, and I just think that it doesn't work anymore. That doesn't work anymore. You can fail.
I think some
it's
transparency
fine,
goes a long way. Yeah, it goes so far.
Right.
So, and I'm with you, man. Just I'm not saying go make promises you have no intentions of keeping.
Right. Tell us
Like,
what you're working on. You're working on
just
it.
tell
You
us
can
what
tell
you're
us what
working
you're doing. Tell us what
You
you're
know?
doing.
Right. And then not only that, man, with Destiny 2, when they screwed it up so bad that they decided to, okay, we got to fix things. They did a community summit and they brought in YouTubers and streamers and, Reddit people and like all people from all the media to come talk and have dialogue. Okay, what's wrong with our game? What would you do to fix it? Here's what we're working on. We're going to show you a little bit of it. Give us your honest feedback. And the community got to shape the way the game played. They say, oh, this is way too easy. This is, this sucks. This is good. This is bad. I don't like what you're doing there. And it really, I think, made a big impact on what we have now, which is a great game.
Right.
Too little, too late, though.
Sure.
So I think Blizzard and hopefully the Diablo team, like utilize your community. We're here for you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying me or you.
Right.
I'm saying the community, man, all of us. Like utilize us, use us. Let us tell you what we do and don't like. And
what I don't
help
get,
you out.
and something that's always like going to bother me probably until I croak, but like when does a game at Blizzard, when does a Diablo game specifically get put on the shelf? And why don't they tell us one way or the other? Because at one point, they stopped making content for Diablo 2. And then, years and years and years later, we find out because, well, they're working on Diablo 3. Where it's kind of in the same boat. Now it's like we're not getting anything. We haven't gotten anything forever for Diablo 3. And so it's like, what? Has it reached that point where it's like put on the shelf and you're just never going to tell us? And so we keep playing the game, hoping and waiting and wanting more out of the game, and you just don't deliver. Like, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore. Right? So it's just like, wake up.
The age of communication is here, man.
Yeah.
We have instant lines of communication to everybody. Like, everybody has a Twitter account. Everybody has social media. Everybody knows YouTube. And it's like, there's no more waiting for my monthly episode or issue of Nintendo Power to come out and try to read what's going on in the industry. Like, you can tell us instantly at any point in time. So I don't understand why this secrecy is even still a thing. I think so many companies are doing it successfully.
Right.
And Blizzard, I think, needs to be a little more transparent. And I get, you're the top dog and you're scared of other people stealing your ideas or this or that. You have to, man.
Yeah.
After this, I think you have to.
Right.
So
I also kind of want to touch, I forgot we had it written down, but we haven't talked about it. Adam, he goes back in a different Q&A panel. He says, quote, "We have many of our best developers working on new mobile titles across all of our IPs." And so what do you think when you hear that?
They're trying to get money. It's just money to me at that point.
Right.
Like, what are they going to do? Make a mobile Overwatch? Like, they're going to put Overwatch on mobile like Fortnite?
Sure.
Was Fortnite on mobile even successful? Like, I can't
I
can't imagine. I put it on my iPad just because my kids wanted to play it. They played it for like 10 minutes and they were like, this sucks. You know what I mean? And they went back to their consoles or PC. Hearthstone's successful in the mobile market. That game's fun on iPad or iPhone.
I think I feel like people are reading like way more into this than needs necessary. Like, this is probably one of the number one comments I've seen on my videos lately. So we have many of our best developers working on new mobile titles across all of our IPs. And so people are taking that as like, oh my God, they're taking all their best developers. Like, they're taking it verbatim and saying like, we're throwing it at our mobile space. And like, you got to take a step back. Like, they're not going to say, we're taking our shittiest developers and we're throwing them at mobile. Like, they can't say that. That's just, this is just company speech. So it's like when they say we're taking our best developers and we're throwing them mobile, like, it's just a fucking handful of developers that they're putting on like mobile. Like you guys are freaking out about nothing, basically.
I would be surprised if they're not going to try to get more into the mobile space. And I think, mobile has money. And so as long as mobile exists, that's fine. I think what baffles me is, why can't Blizzard hire developers for mobile? I don't understand. You have a Diablo team. Let them make Diablo. You have a World of Warcraft team. Let them make World of Warcraft. Hire new people to make your mobile games so it doesn't affect or influence any of the timelines with your current IPs. and then you're fine. And then you can say, hey, we're making the mobile Overwatch, but it's by a new team of guys. Our current team is still making the current game you love. It's not going to screw with you at all. We're just giving you more product. And I think had Diablo tried to do that, when they tried to say NetEase is making the game, but they didn't announce any other projects, and we're like, well, what the hell have you been doing for the last 6 years?
We no idea.
We don't have any content. So had they launched this right with, here's your new game, here's Diablo 4, our in-house guys are making Diablo 4, it's going to be baller, and we hired NetEase to make Diablo Mobile because it's not going to screw with that team, we would have been cool. It would have been fine.
Yep.
It was just the way that they announced it, and people are losing their minds, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like this is that transparency thing. Blizzard's got to come out, and I've been saying this for ever since BlizzCon on my stream. People keep asking me like, why? I got people coming in stream. Why are you still playing Diablo 3?
Sure.
You guys should boycott and not play it, and this and that. Like I still like Diablo 3. It's still a fun game. I'm still playing it. But if they don't have something for us in the distant future, then why would I continue to play it?
Sure.
Why am I going to continue to play this 3 months down the road when we don't have anything?
Yeah.
Or 6 months down the road with no roadmap, no future? At that point, it's going to be like, okay, well, on to new things.
Bye.
Yeah. Yep. Peace out. So.
Yeah.
Feels bad, man.
It does. And it sucks because like you say like, well, I'm never gonna be one of those streamers. It's like, oh fuck D3, I'm out. That makes some YouTube video, make some big fiasco about it, and then you go to something like BlizzCon and you're like, holy shit, like they really have no idea. Like they really have no idea what's going on, and that's just like, it's not that like, okay, your game hasn't gotten content in like a year, it's not so much that, but it's just like it gives you no hope for the future.
Right. It's like if they're going to do this to us now, like we went through the drought for D2 to D3.
Yeah.
We went through the drought for D3 till whatever the future project is. And then we got announced Immortals, which isn't really what we want. Why am I still investing in this company, in this intellectual property that I love, but it's like that girlfriend that keeps cheating on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, I love her. She's awesome, but she keeps doing this one thing that I don't like a lot.
Right.
So it's, why am I still doing this? Why am I not finding a new girlfriend? So, and I'm almost to that point. I'm not going to be that guy either that trashes the game, because I still like Diablo, man. I still love it. So I still play it. I still want to play it, but I want some content so bad. It can't even describe how much I would be willing to pay for new Diablo content, and way more than it would be worth.
And there's just no reason for us not to know. You either need to tell us like, hey, you guys are going to get some stuff, or hey, guess what, guys, we put this on the shelf for now. Like, you just got to tell us. You got to tell us one way or the other. Like, you just can't keep pulling our chains. It's just insane. Anyways, Twitter questions?
Twitter questions. Let's do it.
Yeah.
The first question we have comes from Tabri Perez. He says, many Diablo fans have stated that after the BlizzCon catastrophe, they are abandoning Blizzard and moving on to games by companies who care more about the community. Will games like Vulcan and Lost Ark be the next big Diablo game, or will people play others?
Is that Steve?
Others?
Is that Sneaky Steve again?
I don't know. He's promoting this game. That was a winded question, but I don't think that those games have the backing to, like, Lost Ark maybe could do it.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the other ARPGs I've seen have the backing to be the next Diablo. Sure. I mean, they could be good games for what they are, but they don't have $100 million budgets. Sure. You know what I mean? And I don't know what Diablo 4's budget is, but Destiny 2, for example, the Destiny franchise had a $500 million budget for D1, D2. I don't know how they divvied that up.
Sure.
But that's big time money,
right.
man.
And Lost Ark has like 85 million or something.
Yeah.
Which is
so
no slouch.
I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
But these games,
Wilson and Last Epoch, they just look like, Grim Dawn. And then Grim Dawn's a great game for its own right. It's just like, it's not on the same level. It's just not.
It's not on the same level. I think PoE is still the biggest threat to Diablo. And honestly, man, like I think, in my personal opinion, from the outside looking in as a non-PoE player, because I have not invested any time in that game.
Yeah.
I don't hate on it. I think it's really cool, and I'm glad it exists for people. I think if they fundamentally did some engine changes and some graphic overhauls and just tweaked some of their animations a little bit, it's not even about being pretty. I think the game has a look to it that still looks a little bit dated, more dated than Diablo 3. Not as good as Diablo 3.
Sure.
I think if they can make the game at least equal or better than Diablo 3 from a visual standpoint, that would suck me in instantly. I'm going to be like, all right, let's what do we got? What are we doing here? Okay. And I know that's petty, but I think there's a lot of petty people out there like me that graphics matter. Like the visual look matters.
Right.
You know? So.
Interesting. I can get over a game having not the best graphics. Like when people say like, oh, why don't you play D2? Like I can't go that far. Like D2 just looks like ass, right? But
it does, right?
but you look at, you know, PoE, it doesn't look fantastic, but like, you know, the gameplay can make up for it. It's just like for me, you know, some of the gameplay mechanics don't make up for it, and that kills the game. That's what kills the game. The graphics is like, it's not the best. I don't love it.
It just looks off. Like I can't put my thumb on it exactly, but something about it just is like, man, I don't know. I'm not feeling this. I don't know. Maester Magus says, what is your caffeinated beverage of choice for those days you're running on fumes? Which is every day.
Yeah. We never sleep.
I drink coffee. I've been drinking more and more coffee lately than I usually do.
Yeah, same.
That's my beverage of choice, I guess. I really love sweet tea. I don't drink it a lot.
So weird.
And if I was like one of those people that had the best metabolism in life, I would probably wake up and drink Pepsi every day for breakfast. But I never ever drink it.
Okay.
I would just grab a Pepsi and just kill it.
That's crazy too. When I was a pro gamer, I used to wake up in the morning and walk to my fridge and I'd crack open a Mountain Dew. Like that was my breakfast, and I did that for
Mountain Dew and Pepsi. Man, I love them. I love them
so
both.
Gross.
It's so hard to pick between them, but like I can't. I never ever drink soda because you know I don't have that metabolism where I can eat what I want and stay skinny.
Sure.
I have to watch what I eat, and I don't want calories in drinks.
Right.
I just drink water and then eat food.
Yeah.
So.
But I drink Coke Zero and coffee. Yeah. Coffee in the morning, Coke Zero at night.
Yep.
Coffee like really wakes me up, so I try to stay away from it at night because then I can't sleep.
What does? Coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same for me. I won't drink coffee after 5 p.m. unless I know I'm going to stay up super late.
Right.
Like on Fridays and Saturdays, I'll drink it, but other than that, I don't touch it after 5.
Nothing like the smell of coffee in the morning. I don't know what it is. It's great.
I'm with you. Taylor says, what do you think of the D4 leak?
The Kotika thing? Kotika, whatever it's called.
Kotaku? I don't know.
Well, so there's this post. It's like, yeah, they were gonna come out with D4 at the same time, and then it's like,
I think that was common knowledge. I mean, I assumed that. So when they posted it, I
mean, Blizzard came out and denied it, but you know, who knows? I mean, I think it's very viable. Like, it's a very plausible scenario of what could have happened. Absolutely. But I mean, Blizzard denied it.
I agree.
You have to believe them. So.
I think Diablo 4 was supposed to get announced, and that's why they hyped us up. And then something happened, and they couldn't hype us up anymore.
Sure.
So they put out that anti-hype statement, which was total BS, by the way. And then that's it. That anti-hype statement seems like a cover for something. Like they knew what they did. I feel like they purposely hyped us up, either to sell tickets, or because they had something to show us.
Sure.
And to say that, we put out a statement to tailor, to curb expectations.
Obvious. Evil things take
like
longer.
You did it 2 weeks before BlizzCon after everybody had already bought their tickets, man. That's you can't do that. And then I don't know, that really burns me. That seems like almost like a personal insult because it's like, dude, do you know how much we spent to go to BlizzCon?
Like no one could have spent less than $1,000.
$1,000, man.
The hotels alone were insane, and we split it in half.
Yeah.
Like
$1,000.
Insane.
It's like, come on, man. I don't know. That grinds my gears a lot because there's a lot of things I could have spent $1,000 on.
Yeah.
So
Like a
Onion
new
Killer
phone for
says,
Diablo Immortal.
I know. Shit, that wouldn't even pay for that. A console is $199, by the way, Blizzard, in case you're not paying attention. $199 for a Sony PlayStation 4 on Black Friday. And an iPhone 10 is like what? $1,100?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just throwing that out
Yeah.
there. Since Onion Killer says, what do you think Diablo Immortal endgame will be?
I think it'll kind of try to clone the MMO feel more than the ARPG feel. So I would guess. I don't think it'll be as advanced as like gear score. I would think it would just be like one tier of gear that you'd kind of try to go for. And
it's going to be doing dungeons.
Yeah, dungeons.
Doing dungeons and then getting a drop chance off a boss at the end of the dungeon. Yeah. And then those drop chances will eventually give you powerful gear. And I think that will be the play side of it. And I would be surprised if after that, once you get the drop you want, there will probably be some currency that you spend to increase that item in power. Mm-hmm. And then that's probably where monetization could potentially creep into the game, which I don't know, man. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Sure.
So,
but
that's my guess. That's my guess.
I'm genuinely curious how they're going to do or how much they could do in an end game. Because I just feel like, it's freaking people out, and it freaks me out that like this will be a Diablo title that doesn't have dynamically generated dungeons. Like what? Mm-hmm. Where's the replayability? Like, is it you're doing the dungeon and like it's only 8 or so that he announced at launch, and you get those 8 to choose from, and you're just grinding those? It's just like it seems.
They said they're going to drop frequent content updates. Yeah. So I mean, if they could put out a new dungeon every couple weeks, I guess maybe. Who knows, and then are they going to charge us for them? Or are they going to be free? Like I don't know, man. That's kind of the weird part. Like that's how this.
There's so
this
many
is still
potential red flags, right?
So many moving parts that they have to line up still. So
it's crazy to think about.
Yep. Grimsong says, since Diablo Immortal is going to be considered a MMO ARPG, do you think they'll expand on the skill synergies to work with each other's classes' skills? Example being Wizard's Ray of Frost being able to empower the Necro's Golem into a Frost Golem. I think those are really cool ideas. I don't think
that'd be a dope idea. Yeah.
That'd be really, really cool.
Yep. I would love to see that in games.
Yeah, I would too. Anything that like, combos or class synergies like that, where your ability does something to your partners, would be so cool.
Right. And imagine like you're not, so you got your skills, right? And so they all interact with each other. And then on top of that, interact with like other people in your party. You've just like basically taken your 5 skills or whatever you have, and you've just like multiplied them. So you have like basically kind of like 30 skills you have. I mean, some crazy enumerator.
Crazy number.
Like, yeah.
That'd be really cool. And really cool. Something like, it just goes back to like, this is on mobile though. Right. So how much power do they have? You're going to have to take in connections into account. Like this is on mobile, man. People are going to be playing on crappy cell phone service. The amount of disconnects and issues you're going to have. Right. It's just going to be insane. So,
yeah.
And then Fear the Deer says, should we, fans of Blizzard, really continue to play games they develop when they've made their goals more than clear at BlizzCon, money at all costs?
That's a tough question, man. It's a tough question.
That's something that every person has to decide.
Yeah,
I think.
And that's something we struggle with. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I still like Diablo 3. Yeah. I still play the game. I play a game because I like it. I mean, I want to support people and this and that, but when it comes down to it, all of us work hard for our money.
Yeah.
Nobody is given money. So I'm working hard for my money. I want to spend my money on things that bring me enjoyment. Right. If a game makes me happy, I play the game. I pay for the game. If a game doesn't make me happy, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to pay for it. So that's how I suggest you do it, man. If you hate this announcement and you don't want to play their games anymore, that's understandable. Mm-hmm. When D4 launches, if you think it looks cool, buy it.
Yeah.
And if not, pay GGG. I don't know. Do what makes you happy.
Hopefully Smilegate by that point.
Right, man. So, that's pretty much it. That's all we
Alright.
got.
Right on.
You know?
Damn. It's just like, it's crazy. So like, the weeks leading up to the podcast and to BlizzCon, like the activity on Reddit, on the forums, like the highest upvotes you would see is like maybe like 200 or something. Like 200 is a really good number for a Diablo Reddit. And now we're getting
even
like,
a positive upvote on Reddit in Diablo directory was insane.
and now we're in a time where it's just like, man, I feel like people more so than ever, like when they come, I don't know if it's true for you, but when they come hang out with your stream, they just like want to talk about Diablo. They don't really even care that you're playing Diablo. They just want to like talk about Diablo. So it's just really such a crazy time right now.
We're in a spot right now where and I think somebody even said this on Reddit where they said, I enjoy reading about Diablo more than I enjoy playing Diablo. Like I'm enjoying all of this craziness that's going, like not enjoying it, but they're enthralled in it.
Right.
They're into it. And it's kind of the same, man. I mean, I still have my same regular crew.
Sure.
I can say personally that this has impacted my stream. Like this whole Diablo Immortals thing. A lot of my regular guys are like, man, I just don't want to play Diablo anymore. I don't care.
Sure.
And they come hang out for a little bit, but it's definitely hurt. At first, everybody wanted to hear my thoughts and opinions for the first couple days, and then now it's just kind of like they're like, you know what, screw Blizzard. I don't care. I don't want to play Diablo 3. I want nothing to do with it.
Sure.
So, feels bad.
It does.
But yeah, it's crazy. It definitely brought awareness. There are people that didn't even probably know Diablo existed before this that are getting in on it. And like a thing that I got, so since Destiny is on the Activision or the Blizzard launcher, right? Activision games.
Yeah.
A Destiny content creator that I watch was asked to make a new player guide for all the people that are coming in for Destiny being free right now. So they made that, and then it got featured on the Blizzard launcher.
Cool.
And then people were cussing out this Diablo content creator about Diablo Immortal.
A Destiny
and this person
content
is
creator?
a Destiny content creator made a Destiny video that was featured on the Battle.net launcher, and their comment section was full of "fuck Diablo Immortal." You know what I mean? And they've never played Diablo in their life.
Right.
So this is like the blowback from this is insane.
I think there's an interview out there with like one of the head honchos at GGG where he's like, this is a crazy thing right now. Like it's one of the first times like internet and real life has kind of meshed, and they've like joined forces and to create this like very big controversy, So it's like more normally it's like, yeah, okay, people on the internet will freak out for like, a couple of days or whatever, and then like it just simmers down. But now it's like this is just on a whole new level.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, I mean, we'll see where this ends up. I think Blizzard has a very small window to save face, and I think that they really need to get us some content, whether it's Diablo 3 Season 16 PTR notes, something like they need to give us something.
Sure.
They probably will tomorrow, right? I mean, that's the way it usually works.
After the podcast.
After the podcast.
Yeah.
We'll get some patch notes tomorrow, I hope. So we'll have next week to talk about it. But
I think bare minimum, they just need to tell us what's going on. They just need to tell us.
Yeah. Hey,
well, how hard is that? This is
what we're working on. Multiple projects.
This is what we do every day here at Blizzard.
Yep.
What the fuck are you guys doing?
Working on Diablo 2 remastered. Maybe
You're not
there's
working
like a
on
bunch
Diablo
of dudes.
3. Come on, what are you doing?
Maybe there's like a bunch of dudes and they're just like fucking I don't know, playing playing Halo,
they're playing
or something.
Fortnite. Yeah. Well, like what?
Yeah,
if they say
Fortnite
like, oh, we're
in, like,
working
their
on
office.
Diablo 3, I'd be like, you guys suck at programming. What do you mean you're working on Diablo 3?
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah,
and maybe
they're
that's why
playing,
they don't tell us.
playing Halo. They're having Halo tournaments every day, pizza parties, and like watching Game of Thrones in their fucking pajama pants.
Or they're playing
and shit.
mobile
I don't
games. They're all playing Candy Crush or something instead of
Like,
programming.
Instead of making Diablo 3, this Candy Crush is really good. Let's do that instead. So interesting, man.
Yeah.
That's all we got, I believe.
Yep.
Believe so. So if you guys want to find more of me, my name is ThaPChild. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere at ThaPChild.
Yeah. And I am Lord Fluffy _ in between, double those underscores on the Twitter.
On the Twitterverse. Cool.
And we'll see you guys next week, dude.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. I'm going to be going live right here, and you're keeping your stuff going. So
yeah.
see you guys soon.
See you guys soon. Baby.